It was raining heavily when my boyfriend came to pick me up from work one day. I was on my period and accidentally got the seat dirty. My boyfriend exploded, "Are you kidding me? How could you not tell me you're on your period beforehand? Look at what you've done to my car. It's disgusting." I tried to explain to him with a pale face, "I think it's because I got chilled and my period came earlier than expected." "Forget it, we'll just take it to a car wash later," he said. However, he cursed at me for over 10 minutes, pushed me out of the car into the rain and said, "You can take a taxi. I'll wait for you at home." When I got off work that day, it was raining heavily again. I sent a message to Fang Jingwen asking him to pick me up. He replied immediately, "Baby, I don't want to come pick you up because of the heavy rain and traffic jam. It takes at least more than an hour from my company to yours. Can you go back by yourself? Or you can ask your colleagues if they can give you a ride." Seeing this familiar line of reasoning, I felt a bit upset. The car Fang Jingwen was driving now was a graduation gift from my mother. I had just brought the car home when Fang Jingwen asked me if he could drive it. "Baby, you just got your driver's license, and you haven't driven the car yet. It's not safe. Plus, driving is so tiring. Why don't I be your driver? No matter where you want to go, I'll be there for you with just one message," he said. Thinking that he made sense, I gave him the car keys. At first, he was very considerate. He picked me up and dropped me off at work on time every day, no matter the wind or rain. However, as time went by, when I asked him to wake me up and send me to work in the morning, he would complain, "It's too early. I worked on my project until the early morning last night, and can't you take a taxi?" I get off work at 5:30, and Fang Jingwen arrived at 8:30. He parked his car in front of our company, but didn't get out. I looked at the torrential rain pouring down, hesitated for a few seconds, and then ran into the rain with my bag. When I got into the car, most of my clothes were already wet, and my carefully done hair was soaked by the rain, hanging down on both sides of my face, looking very messy. The air conditioning in the car was very strong, and I couldn't help but shiver. Fang Jingwen was steering the wheel, complaining non-stop, "I told you to take a taxi yourself, but you insisted on me picking you up. If you had listened to me, we would have already gotten home by now. Can't you be more independent like other girls? The whole city is raining, what are the girlfriends without boyfriends supposed to do?" I kept my lips pressed together and didn't say anything. I turned around and fastened my seatbelt, taking out a tissue to wipe my hair. I could feel that Fang Jingwen's attitude towards me was becoming increasingly impatient. No matter what I did, he didn't like it. He thought I couldn't do anything well. My girlfriend said, "When a man starts picking on you in every way, there's no need to doubt it. He must have found someone else he likes better and is comparing you to her." Fang Jingwen is my senior by 2 grades, and my internship company has business dealings with his company. We got to know each other gradually over time. Getting together was a natural thing. He was my first love. I never thought he would do anything wrong to me. All the changes I saw were just because we had been together for too long and had lost our passion. Who can guarantee that the cup of love will always be boiling? And we have already gotten engaged, and the wedding is scheduled for 6 months later. If there is no unexpected event, I will spend the rest of my life with him. But now, as I listened to him complaining as usual, a sense of anger suddenly rose up within me, accompanied by a D. Fang Jingwen parked his car by the roadside. I got up and looked around, only to find that the situation was worse than I had imagined. It wasn't just my pants, but the seat was also stained with a small patch of blood. and as I moved around, I could feel that the blood was gushing out. In this situation, there was nothing I could do, so I was about to put a tissue on the seat and deal with it when I got home. But Fang Jingwen exploded. He was staring at the bloodstain in disbelief. Are you kidding me? Why didn't you tell me you were on your period? Look at what you've done to my car. It's disgusting. Disgusting? I had lived for 30 years before someone had ever called me disgusting. A sense of unprecedented embarrassment came over me. In addition, there was a chill in my heart. I held back my tears and explained to him, it's probably because I got cold that I came early. It's okay. We'll just find a car wash and take care of it later. I thought this was the best solution. Now I just wanted to go home, take a bath, drink a cup of hot ginger tea, and crawl into bed. But Fang Jingwen was still persistent. Do you think washing the car is enough? The smell will stay in the car, you know? You're really stupid. Fang Jingwen looked at me, omitting the middle word. But I still knew what he meant from his mouth shape. I was shaking all over from the pain and asked him, what do we do now? I'm already in this much pain, and you want to discuss whether or not I should have my period? And why do you have the right to accuse me? This car was bought for me by my mother. I don't care, so why are you worried about it? These words probably hit Fang Jingwen's sore spot. Fang Jingwen widened his eyes and turned red in the cheeks. After a moment, he unfastened his seatbelt and got out of the car. The next second, the passenger door was opened. He handed me an umbrella and pulled me out of the seat by hand. I was on the verge of fainting, and I was like a puppet being manipulated by him. Fang Jingwen's face showed no disguise of disgust. You can take a taxi home by yourself. I'll wait for you at home, he said, and got into the car, stepped on the gas, and drove away, disappearing in the traffic in no time. I was left alone, holding my bag, standing in the rain like a wooden statue. Cars zoomed by on either side of me, splashing water all over me. I had never expected that it would rain on a day when I was experiencing menstrual. I woke up again in the hospital. It turned out that a kind aunt drove by and took me there. The kind aunt not only took me to the hospital, but also thoughtfully got me a warm porridge to warm me up. I felt a little embarrassed. After all, I was in a pretty messy state at the time, with various dirty water and blood mixed together, and I must have gotten her car dirty. Thank you so much for getting your car dirty. I'm really sorry. Let's add each other's contact information, and I'll transfer the car washing fee to you, I said. But to my surprise, the aunt refused. She waved her hand carelessly. It's no big deal. Washing a car doesn't cost much money. Besides, every girl has those special times. You were all alone and collapsed on the ground in the rain. It was so dangerous with cars coming and going. It's fate that we met, and adding each other's contact information is fine, but there's no need for the car washing fee, she said, with a hint of confusion. Lady, I have to ask, why don't you take a taxi in this heavy rain? She continued. Your health is the most important thing after all. The concerned tone of her voice reminded me of my mother. If she knew that I was left on the road by Fang Jingwen, how heartbroken she would be. Thinking about this, I couldn't help but feel a lump in my throat and my eyes filled with tears. The aunt had something else to do, so she checked on my condition and left after giving me some instructions. Not long after, Fang Jingwen's phone call came in. I felt a headache that felt like it was about to split my head in half, and all I could think about was Fang Jingwen abandoning me by the roadside. I turned my phone on silent mode. However, Fang Jingwen was persistent, calling more than 60 times. The phone rang for the 69th time, and I answered it. Hello? Nan Chiao. Can't you stop being stubborn? Look at the time. Fang Jingwen was from a single-parent family. He lost his father in an accident when he was just 4 years old, and it was his mother who struggled to raise him. So, after we got engaged, he proposed that he wanted to take care of his mother after our wedding. He said, "My mother has worked hard for over 20 years, and now it's our turn to take care of her." But he was too busy, so it was always me who took care of his mother when she came over. The worst part was that my lifestyle was completely opposite to that of his mother, and we just couldn't get along. Neither Fang Jingwen nor I knew how to cook, so we usually had lunch at the canteen and just ordered some takeout for dinner. But Fang Jingwen's mother said she didn't like eating outside and wanted something simple at home. So, I had no choice but to try my best. Fang Jingwen's mother insisted that I should kneel down to clean the floor, which she believed was the only way to clean it properly. As a wife, I should get up early every day to prepare breakfast for my husband so that he could eat it as soon as he woke up, which would improve the family's sense of happiness. She taught me with her 40 years of experience what vacuum cleaners and dishwashers are. Those are all tricks to cheat people. Doing housework is something that women are born to do, and I'm teaching you these things for your own good. Every time she came over under the pretext of taking care of me, she actually exhausted me to death. Now, Fang Jingwen's mother probably comes over every other week, and I've had enough of it. If we live together, we'll be seeing each other all the time, and we might even fight. In order to avoid further conflicts, I suggested renting a house in the same neighborhood and paying for it together. But Fang Jingwen said, "No, my mother is waiting for us to move into our new house after we get married, and it would sound bad if we rent a house." 3 hours ago, Fang Zh, based on my understanding of Bang Yunwan, when he avoids a topic, he will change the subject just like now, trying to gloss over the issue. In the past, I could turn a blind eye to it. But now I impatiently interrupted him. Yes, I was too much, so let's break up. Give me back the car and the money. Bang Yunwan was caught off guard by my words. You're talking about money all the time now. When did you become so realistic? I sneered, as if to say that wanting my own money was being realistic. Yes, you're not realistic. You're the most high-minded. So when are you going to give me the money? The renovation costs 600,000 won. I'll give you a week to come up with it. As for the car, I need it now, so please bring it to me. Bang Yunwan may have realized that I was serious this time, so his tone softened somewhat. It's just that I didn't pick you up, right? I'll say sorry to you, okay? Where are you now? I'll come pick you up. To this day, Bang Yunwan still thinks that leaving me behind was just a small thing. It was me who was making a big deal out of it. For such a person, I don't even bother to explain to him. No, I just want the car. My mother bought it for me, and you've been driving it for 5 years, and I've paid for all the maintenance and other expenses. I won't ask you for the use fee for our relationship over the years. I should have said these words to him a long time ago, and let myself suffer for so many years. My mom bought the car, but I don't have the right to use it, and I'm thrown out of the car without even saying a word. House Fang Jingwen out a down payment, 300,000, emptied his savings for many years. We paid for the renovations. $600,000. As a result, Fang Jingwen's mother is always acting weird when she comes here, and I live in his son's house. These grievances who love who suffer, anyway, I cannot stand. I thought that when I put it this way, Fang Jingwen is at least a highly educated intellectual, and the two of us should also be able to get together and part well, so as not to make it too embarrassing. But the sharp voice of Fang Jingwen's mother over the phone rang again. You a little bitch who fell into the eyes of money, who do you think you are? What happened to my son driving your car? You even belong to our family, not only the car, even if your parents are dead, the property should be inherited by us. Fang Jingwen fucking voice intermittent, the middle also mixed with Fang Jingwen to block her voice. His mother said more excited, finally put down the harsh words, do not know the lofty things, I will not give you, you can take me how? You have the ability to go to the police. She didn't give me a chance to talk back. The phone was hung up. I was shaking with anger, and the more I thought about it, the angrier I got. Finally took out the mobile phone to call the 110 alarm phone. Hello, police? I want to call the police, my car has been stolen. I gave the police the details of the vehicle. Soon after, the police called to tell me that the car had been found. Meanwhile, the suspect who stole my car was taken to the police station. They told me to go over there and check it out. It was not until they were pulled to the police station that Fang Jingwen and his mother realized that I was really not joking. To my surprise, my parents were there. Without thinking, it must be Fang Jingwen's complaint. He looked at me incredulously and bitterly. As for Qiao Qiao, you're going to call the police on me just because I didn't pick you up? I didn't look at him the whole time, but said firmly, as for Fang Jingwen's mother is eager to eat me alive, all kinds of mouth fragrance. You little whore. If you dare to call the police and arrest my son, you will be punished sooner or later. When the policeman heard it, his brow knitted into one syllable. Although my mother has not yet figured out the facts, but still firmly on my side, and Fang Jingwen's mother to scold. When it comes to cursing, my mom set a record for 3 hours of cursing. In our 2 blocks, nobody messes with my mom. Finally, the police could not listen and separated the 2 men. The policeman persuaded that as someone else's car, break up and return to someone else, so that both sides look bad. What her car? They're both engaged, it's my son's car. Fang Jingwen, his mother, is still full of nonsense. The police just showed her out. After the world was clean, my father asked Fang Jingwen with a livid face, Xiao Fang, what is going on? My dad was a college professor, and he was always gentle, so it was rare for him to show such anger. Fang Jingwen bowed his head and dared not look my father in the eye. Dad, I just fell out with Qiao Qiao. You know Qiao Qiao is always spoiled. My father snorted cold. I raised my own daughter, what character I know. I understand, Qiao Qiao is the baby I have carefully raised for more than 20 years. I would not let her eat a little hardship since childhood. I would rather suffer by myself. Unexpectedly, I gave my daughter to you, and you did this to her. Now that Qiao Qiao is breaking up, we as parents support her decision. Fang Jingwen turned pale and kept explaining, no, I didn't mean it that day, Under the witness of the police, Fang Jingwen handed over the car keys. He was reluctant, but he could tell the difference between a car and his reputation and future. The car was already in my name. There was no trouble after the keys were handed over. It's just that the decoration is tricky. Who married are running to live a good life, who knows the last Fang Jingwen will come out. But it doesn't matter. Out of professional habit, I keep an account of the invoices and various receipts during the renovation. It's a bit of a hassle, but I'll get the money back sooner or later. When I came out of the police station, it was raining heavily. I got into the driver's seat. I have to say, it feels good to be behind the wheel. and Fan Jingwen mother and son standing under the eaves, face sad. As I drove by, I opened the window and told them sweetly, it's not good to take a taxi on a rainy day. You have to queue for at least 2 or 3 hours. Back home, my mother gave me a good conditioning body. After learning that Fan Jingwen and I had suffered so many grievances together, she could not help but wipe tears. I didn't even let you cook at home, and I didn't even get married yet, so I used you as my mother. Fan Jingwen, this vicious creature, said better things than he sang when he pursued you, and it only took him a long time to show his true colors. My father came out of the kitchen with a bowl of freshly made chicken soup, sighed at my mother, and then immediately put on a fatherly face and said, quick, while it's hot. While I was eating my soup, my dad pulled my mom into the room. You say a little bit less, the child is not feeling well now. How to say that two people have talked for 7 or 8 years, even if they have a dog, they also have feelings, in case Xiao Xiao wants to open and stimulate it, how to do? Mother impatiently then said, Xiao Xiao's temper at this mother is the most clear. You don't look at her that day is suddenly mentioned to break up. In fact, her heart has already envisioned this picture countless times. You understand? My dad said stupidly, I don't understand. I was outside and I smiled. My mom was right. Leaving is never sudden, but because of saving enough disappointment. In my world, I have envisioned breaking up with Fan Jingwen countless times. All the times he used overtime as an excuse to leave me alone to face the fuck. When I was wronged and wanted to talk to him, I was pulled by him. Every time I needed him, I couldn't find him. So when it came to the actual day of leaving, I was able to accept it calmly. I called a moving company to remove all my personal belongings from that home. When the master entered the door, Fan Jingwen's mother was also at home. She followed the whole thing, always vigilant. I'm afraid I took an extra thing that doesn't belong to me. I command master take this take that, watching the huge house more and more empty, Fan Jingwen his mother face are white. She was distressed to shout, God, you are robbing. This is my son's hard work to acquire the family property, you have no right to take away? Police. I want to police. I showed my hand. Whatever you want. Then continue to direct the master to move things. Fan Jingwen blackface finally did not hold up, looked up and asked me, you must do so absolutely? Even if we break up, we can still be friends. I brushed the dust off my clothes and casually said, I am not so short of friends, you'd better return the money to me early, we owe each other. Oh, please get up. I bought the chair you're sitting in, too. Master, please move this table for me. Fan Jingwen pulled the corners of his mouth. His mother was breathing heavily and his mouth was still hard. You have made such an ugly mess now. Don't regret it later. Even if you kneel down and beg my son, I will not allow you to enter our house again. I'd like to see if anyone would dare to take you, even if you're such a rotten sleeper. I will not pay you back anyway. The house is written in my son's name, and my son will get married and have children in this house in the future. How about that? I am angry with you. I looked around. This little home I built with my own hands bit by bit was finally destroyed by Fan Jingwen. I clapped my hands and said to the masters, all the furniture that can be moved to me, and all that can't be moved is smashed. The master looked at the warm house and hesitated. Hit? Hit to what extent? What the blank looks like, smashed into the same shape. Fan Jingwen is fucking stupid. Hurriedly rushed up to stop, but the sledgehammer has no eyes. A hammer down can be said to hit the wall or the head. Fan Jingwen dragged his mother out. A few hours later, the house was back to almost nothing. The mother and son looked at the devastated house for a long time without returning to their senses. After the house problem was solved, I returned the bride price and 3 gold to Fang Jingwen. I thought this was gonna be over, and I was gonna live in peace. Unexpectedly, Fang Jingwen, his mother, chased my company. This time she changed her arrogant and domineering nature, sat at the office door and wiped tears. Nanqiao, you suddenly want to break up without any reason. The bride price will not return to our home. The house you said smashed. But also we give you 600,000 decoration money. Where do we take so much money? In order to marry you, our family has paid a dowry and bought 3 gold, and the house is also bought according to your requirements, spending hundreds of thousands of dollars before and after, and the family bottom is empty. I know that you look down on our family and think that our family conditions are not good, but my son can say that you are obedient all these years. Why do you say that you break up? The office door was already crowded with people, all craning their heads, ready to eat melons. Then a soft voice came from the crowd. I remember Xiao sister's boyfriend is very good to her, no matter wind or rain, car to car. She must not be outside? I see her dressed up all day. Most of our company are girls. You guess who she dressed like that to look at? Eating melon, people have been these words, to gasp a breath. Eat melon to eat melon, but after all, we are colleagues who get along all day long, even if we don't like each other in the heart, talk about it privately. Who will confront people? Speaking is the company just came in the first half of the intern Lin Ji. She never fought me. I don't know what I have offended her. Since the day she came to the company, she has been acting strangely to me all day. At first, I thought she was just a graduate who had just come out of society, and I didn't put it in my heart. But now, Fang Jing, when his mother saw someone speak for her, the waist suddenly straightened a lot. Nanqiao, your colleagues have said so. You must have done something sorry to my son, so you are anxious to break up the marriage. A man can't be so capricious. There will be retribution. Lin Ji put Fang Jingwen mother from the ground to help up. She frowns, open his cool tone. Xiao sister, you also don't blame me for a lot of mouth. This person has always helped not to help kiss. Last time I clearly saw you from a man's car down. 2 people are still very close. You are because of this, just break up with your boyfriend? Girls, don't be too realistic. True love is something that no amount of money can buy. How can you hurt a person who loves you so much? I coldly looked at her performance, pointed to the Fang Jingwen mother beside her, puzzled. You speak for her so, she is your mother, His colleagues burst into laughter. Lin Ji, a smiling face rose red. Shy said, what do you talk nonsense? This is a righteous speech. Cannot see someone bully. Oh. And you speak for her in this way because you like her son? I can't think of any other reason. On my playful eyes, Lin Ji angry. You eat in the bowl and look at the pot, but also pour dirty water on me. Want me to see, you wear this outfit also want a lot of money? It must be for the old man when the small 3 in exchange. I advise you to wake up early, giving people when the small 3 will not have a good end. Beautiful, why can't you make money with your own skills? These words, someone has quietly returned to the station, pretending to stay out of the matter. Others were holding small hands and expressing excitement. Fang Jing, when his mother looked at the atmosphere of tension, grabbed the hand of Lin Ji, sighed, girl, thank you for speaking for me, want me to see you better than this South Joe. Lin Ji's face showed a strange blush. I waited for them to finish their performance before I spoke again. Tell me exactly how Fang Jingwen threw me out of the car that day. I could see clearly that someone had clenched their fists and clenched the roots of their teeth. As for the bride price, they said, but 88,000, after the Fang Jingwen mother borrowed 50,000 for the reason of seeing a doctor, which is equal to the real in my hand, which is 38,000. The house is not to mention. Fang Jingwen out of 300,000 down payment, I out of 600,000 decoration costs, room book has not my name. In the end, who take advantage of who is not at a glance? I don't have to keep the 38,000 yuan bride price. I can always transfer the money back as long as my ex-boyfriend pays me back the decoration cost. I showed the transfer information and invoice receipts one by one. Melon eaters are not fools. At a glance, to see Fang Jingwen his mother, this is a thief, cry thief. Shame on you. Not to mention 88,000, I thought Nanqiao asked their family for a sky-high bride price. The abacus beads jumped in my face when I asked the woman to pay the decoration fee without adding the name. By this point, his mother was curled up, head down, trying to diminish her presence. Lin Ji bit his lip and stared at me viliously. So what? This does not affect the fact that you give others win the third. How do you want to have 7 or 800,000 cars, with you can afford it? I shook my head helplessly. Some people really do not cry until the coffin. I pulled out a screenshot of the video and showed it to everyone. Let's see, who is the mistress? The photo shows a man and a woman kissing in a car. In one photo, the man's hand even reaches into the bottom of the woman's dress. Look at the face. Why does this woman look so familiar? The crowd looked at each other. Not sure. Let's see. Until someone exclaimed, my grass. Is this not Lin Ji? Lin Ji cover face issued a scream, rushed up to rob my mobile phone. I was a dodge. As you can see, the man in the photo is my ex-boyfriend, Fang Jingwen. I pulled these photos off the dash cam. It's kind of a surprise. After getting the car from Fang Jingwen, I sent the car to the 4S shop for maintenance. And checked to see if there's any scrapes. One day, the staff of the 4S shop called me after hesitating. Sister, we found something in your car, you'd better come and have a look for yourself. Half an hour later, I watched the whole video in a 4S store with no emotion. Fang Jingwen and Lin Ji don't know when to hook up together. They're still having sex in my car. At the last moment, Lin Ji even deliberately asked Fang Jingwen, how, me and the old woman South Joe, who can make you cool? That's disgusting. Later, think about it, Fang Jingwen was very picky about me during that time, and finally there was a reason. Because of the comparison of the Lin Ji rose, I became a grain of rice sticky on the clothes. Men, ever so realistic. Back now, I looked at the Lin Ji close to the collapse of cold eyes, asked, Lin Ji, I think Yuyan did not experience temptation, astray is also normal, did not want to give you embarrassment. But today, is your own face up to let me play? Colleagues present also took aim at her. After all, I've got proof that she couldn't have said it with 8 mouths. She came at me screaming, ah, you bitch, I'm going to kill you. Too bad she couldn't even touch my clothes when she was grabbed by the wrist. What are you crazy about? Aren't you ashamed enough? The bearer was Fang Jingwen. His brow was furrowed and his face was haggard as I had never seen before. However, seeing the people standing behind Fang Jingwen, I understood everything. Lin Ji also saw behind the man wearing a suit. She smiled maniacally, it's you. You see, this is Nanqiao's adulterer. The man looks nearly 40 years old, his face is very good, but he is not smiling, and his whole body exudes the air of not being near. Someone whispered, my God, Overlord President, Nanqiao, this dead girl is eating too well. I couldn't help but smile wryly. I mean, it's all the same. Fan Jingwen's mother saw the adulterer appear, and again came to the spirit, angrily said, "Son, Nanxia really gave you a cuckolded hat, we have to find her to mental damage." Fan Jingwen, just uniformed Lin Ji, heard his mother say this is about to collapse. The man in the suit opened his mouth. "Fan Jingwen, how do I not know when I became my niece's adulterer? I was helpless, little uncle, you don't joke." This out, Lin Ji and Fan Jingwen, his mother, at the same time changed his face, muttered, "How can it be? How can it be?" Fan Jingwen completely collapsed, "All because of you. Good to provoke South Zhou to do what? This is our company boss, South Zhou is his niece. I have been expelled now, I have nothing, it is all your fault. Fan Jingwen, company boss, is my little uncle, this matter no one knows. When I entered our company as an intern, it was my little uncle who sent me in. Our company is a competitor with the little uncle company. I don't know what was going on in his head that I, a recent college graduate, was going to steal trade secrets for him. And before the secret was even in touch, he hooked up with the boss of our company. Maybe it's the strong who love each other. Our boss is my little aunt. To sum up, the reason why Fan Jingwen can run smoothly these years, in addition to his own ability, most of the reason is that I gave him a good word in front of my little uncle. Little uncle, just me this one niece, pet it, what else can you do? Fan Jingwen and Lin Ji were both dismissed. If Fan Jingwen and I get married successfully, the position of general manager will be his. I'll tell him the truth about my family. In the future, our life will be free of food and clothing. Unfortunately, Fan Jingwen did not go to the end with me. Fortunately, Fan Jingwen did not go to the end with me. Later, I heard that he and Lin Ji got married. A shotgun wedding. Lin Ji to Fan Jingwen is true love, even if he has nothing to marry him. Fan Jingwen was originally reluctant. But his mother threatened him with death. You are more than 30 years old, other people at your age can get soy sauce, I don't care, this child must be born. Fan Jingwen is a big filial son, finally can only compromise. He has only one requirement for Lin Ji, take care of his mother is not easy. The wedding room is still the same half-blank room. A little paint, a little furniture, and I moved on. Since being fired, Fan Jingwen never recovered. His mind was filled with thoughts of returning to the days of power. So the high is not the low. In order to support his family, he found a random company to do technology. Doing 3 times as much work as before, making $3,000. After the baby is born, the milk, powder, diapers, everything. Gradually, Lin Ji mentality has changed. She called Fan Jingwen a loser who couldn't afford to raise a child. Fan Jingwen complained is Lin Ji seduce him every time afterwards, he will charge Lin Ji remember to take medicine. Can Lin Ji lied to him, Fan Jingwen's mother was carrying her child, so tired that her old bones were falling apart, and she had no patience for her son. When the job was so good, it was gone. Fan Jingwen is like a cat whose tail has been stepped on, you still have the face to say? If it wasn't for you to make trouble, would I be like this today? If I were still with Nanxia now, I would already be the general manager of the company with an annual salary of at least 1 million. Fan Jingwen, his mother muttered, blame me for what? Not because you cheated? Fan Jingwen's life is a chicken feather. Finally, late one night, he jumped from the 18th floor. A minute before he jumped, he sent me a text message. Qiao Qiao, I'm sorry for you in this life. If there is a next life, I will treat you well. I had a cold war in my sleep, and immediately a pair of big hands hugged me into my arms. The man patted me gently. Did you have a nightmare? I shook my head and fell asleep in his arms.